Yes, Eagles OTAs day 2. We're going to go over the Kevin Patullo press conference, other press conferences, and what happened on the field today. Some very interesting things. And let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you're having a fantastic day today. So we're going to be going over Eagles OTAs day 2. And the first thing I kind of want to go over here, okay, is Bryce Huff. He was not, showing up to warm-ups. I don't know if he practiced the rest of the day, but the Bryce Huff thing is just getting more interesting now because we are at almost June 1st. Okay, and June 1st to post June 1st is really what we have to pay attention to because he's making $17 million a year. He hasn't really worked out for the Eagles at all, and it seems like Fangio is kind of out of favor with him. Really, how they made him a healthy scratch for that Super Bowl really told me that they just really don't trust to beat on the field to really make plays. Okay, with the competition with in front of him like Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, you got Ojulari, you got Uche, you got Ryland Jr. Just a lot of bodies there. And we're going to find out if there's any movement on this. Second bit of news on the day is Nakobe Dean and Jihad Campbell were not at OTAs. They were in the building rehabbing most likely. We know that Jihad Campbell is rehabbing the shoulder. He had the minor surgery after the combine. He'll be back hopefully by training camp. That's what the news is as of right now. And the Kobe Dean still working rehabbing that patellar tendon injury that he had in the wild card game from Green Bay last year in 2024. It has been rehabbing ever since. We want Dean to come back as fast as possible. We know that his future is really in doubt right now. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of 25, but, with now, Zach Bond on an extension, you have Jihad Campbell that will be back way before Dean is, and you have Small Munden, you have Trotter Jr., so there's a lot of good things to take out of it, but the way that they were playing basketball last week, and we saw a video of Nakobe Dean really, moving around and jumping and running and doing stuff, it's a really good sign that maybe he is ahead of schedule. Maybe he'll be back earlier, and maybe in a few weeks we'll get another update on Nakobe Dean to really see where he's at in his rehab process and as fast as he can get on the field. So we'll see what happens. Now we're going to talk about the cornerback position. The big question is what's going on with Ringo? Who's starting at the number 2 spot? Obviously, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. And it looks like Adoree Jackson got most of the snaps at the number 2 corner spot, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Ringo did get a few snaps here and there, but not as much as Adoree Jackson. And then when they played base defense, it looks like DeJean actually had a few snaps on the outside as a number 2 corner. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. They're just moving guys around. And I heard Makuba actually moved from safety to inside corner when they played base. So we'll see what happens there. But so far, I think, you sign Adoree Jackson as a savvy vet. That's a huge safety blanket as a number 2 corner, just in case, somebody goes down or, Ringo's not playing up to par, but throughout camp, we're going to see, where this is all going down. Like it's the second day, so I'm not going to make a big deal and say Adoree Jackson's better. They're just putting guys in positions right now. Fangio has to evaluate some of these players, so that's got to happen. Ringo will have his fair shot. It's just not going to be right now, and there's still a lot of time with training camp. You get full pads, you get joint practices against another team. There's plenty of other practices that are going to be more valuable than OTAs when it comes to who are they putting at specific positions right now on the second day of OTAs with no pads. So I got to take everything very, very small and not really make a big deal about it. So that was the news when it came to the cornerbacks. I think we're all excited for Andrew Makuba at safety, and he did start as the first team safety. They were doing some drills involving punching the ball out. He looked great in Eagles green, and I can't wait till we see that big hit, whether it's in a joint practice, whether it's in preseason. We're going to see that big monster hit on how big he plays at his size, and it's going to be the most exciting thing. So nice to see that Andrew Makuba is getting a lot of reps at the safety spot. That's supposed to happen. Fangio needs to see what he's got and brings to the table here. And we get more of that. Now, Jalix Hunt had his press conference and saying that he feels more comfortable at the edge rushing position than last season, that he could play with personality and he's not be so cookie cutter. With so much more experience, with a Super Bowl under your belt and going through the season that you went through last year, Jalix Hunt was a hand-picked pick by Vic Fangio. Okay, as an edge rusher that could drop in coverage, which definitely fits his expertise of what he likes in this defense from his edge rushers. He definitely fits the mold in Philadelphia, but they love him when he rushes the passer. This was a guy that had a off-season minor surgery last year, if you guys remember. Then he didn't come back for a bit, and then he came back and played a lot of special teams. And finally, he got reps in the rotation. And then when he got to the playoffs, he really came into his own where Josh Sweat and literally Jalix Hunt, their stats were pretty much very comparable. And it was kind of amazing. You know what I mean? I think he's a huge gem. I think he's going to be a big steal. And I think he's going in that direction of become a pretty solid player for us, and he could be a lot better than what he is. So I'm excited to see Jalix Hunt in his year 2 with the Philadelphia Eagles. With all the mentorship he had from Brandon Graham and everyone really helping him, I think he's ready to do bigger and better things here. So nice to hear from Jalix Hunt. Now, Kevin Patullo had his press conference today. Now, Kevin Patullo has been one of the biggest questions of the offseason. I wanted to get through free agency. I wanted to get through the draft before we really started to harp on Patullo. He's been here for 4 years. He's known Nick Sirianni since 2009. I think he was a quarterback coach at one point, and Sirianni was a wide receiver coach, I think, for the Chargers a lot like years ago. Um, he explained a few things, really talking about some of the players, mostly like Saquon Barkley, and with the workload he had last year, coming into this year now, being the leader that he is, again, and they're not straying away from what they did last year, but obviously some things have to change because your identity can't be the same. But your identity with the Philadelphia Eagles has turned into you're running the football. You're a run first team. You're not a pass first team. You are a run first team now. But he talked about obviously him being the offensive coordinator now, learning from Kellen, learning from Nick, and it's been more of a collaborative effort. Okay, from what I've noticed last year in 24 is that it's been mostly a lot of chefs in the kitchen when it comes to how they put this offense together. Now, I would say that I really don't like that, but obviously the last couple years it has worked in some cases. Patullo was here in 23 when we really had that downfall at the end of the season, so I don't know why he wasn't the offense or why he wasn't given play calling at that moment in 2023, which kind of confuses me still. But even last year, he's very detailed. He communicates with all his players. He communicates a lot with Jalen Hurts. Seems like the receivers really like him. He wants to put his players in the right position to be successful and win football games. This isn't Nick's offense. This really isn't Patullo's offense. It's a collaborative effort offense, but realistically, it is Nick. And then really the coordinator really sprinkles a little bit of his own finesse on what he wants to do in the offense. Okay. There's really no excuse. Like when Patullo's been here for 4 years, he's not a first year. He's a first year coordinator, but he's been in the building. He's worked close with Nick. He's worked close to every coordinator that has walked through this door and walked out of this door. And hopefully you can keep this guy for 2.5 years, 2+ years at least 2 years. You know what I mean? Before everyone starts to catch on, the Eagles are winning, and yet another coordinator is going to be off our hands, back to square one of finding another coordinator again. There's no doubt this offense is going to change for many reasons. And I think for one is I think they're really going to revive that fullback position, which Jeffrey Lurie did say on WIP a few weeks ago. So I think a fullback, having another weapon in a fullback on the field, or having a double running back set or something like that, which we really didn't do that much last year. We did it in the Brazil game. We did it in one other game, so they really didn't do that much. But that fullback position with all the competition and how many guys are going to be competing for that spot, I think they're going to really make the team look more different in the backfield with a fullback present with Barkley, and that would be an awesome thing. Whether you're going to pass to a fullback, have him as a lead blocker, however you want to use him as a distraction for a specific play, is an awesome thing. So we'll find out more on that. But realistically, I think this is more of a wait and see approach from me because you really have no excuses. I mean, you have everybody in this offense from last year besides competition at right guard, and you have no Kenneth Gainwell. Other than that, everything is the exact same as last year. And those two spots will not cause any ruckus in this offense. They'll find the best right guard going into this year. And they already got AJ Dillon, and they'll have a multitude of other backs in the building to try out or to compete for a practice squad spot or whatever's going on. If they're keeping 3 running backs, whatever they're doing. I think we just have to wait and see how he coaches, what the offense is going to look like, joint practice, when we get full pads on, and really hope to God that this guy is going to be the right guy, that this was the right hiring. And I believe this was the right hiring because I feel like a lot of other OCs want to have their own offense. They don't want to collaborate with other people. They want to have their own plan. They want to do everything 100% on their own. And I used to kind of believe that, but we had been more in a collaborative effort where the coordinator and head coach really, talk to each other, game plan, all of that stuff. So I really don't have any answer right now to see if I trust Patullo or not. But since he's been here for 4 years and he's been around everything, there's really no excuse to really have this offense not be a top 3 offense in the league. I'm sorry, but it might take a few weeks for this offense to kind of knock the rust off, and these starters are not going to play in with a half a series in a preseason game. That's all you're getting from these starters, and they're not going to practice. They're going to practice for weeks, but they're not going to have any game-like situations in these preseason games for a while till they get to the regular season game, and they really have to be gelled together, and it might take some time. And lastly, for the day, it looks like Jason Kelsey was helping Jeff Stalin with coaching some of the offensive line, which was pretty damn cool, I gotta say. I wonder if Kelsey's going to be doing this all the time. Is he doing this whole entire offseason? But it was nice to see Kelsey with Stout. I'm actually really shocked. I wouldn't think that Kelsey would have time to do this, but it's nice that with him being there. It's going to help tremendously for some of these guys like Miles Hinton and Cameron Williams and some of these draft picks. So it's nice to see that he was around. Well, that was the second day of OTA. So really not much, no full pads, really no big competition. Fangio moving players around the defense, the offense doing their thing as usual. And like I said, everything's too early to tell, but to see where they're lining up specific players is not certain that that's where they're going to be. But you get a kind of idea where Fangio's going, moving guys around and things like that. So we'll see what happens I think we have a couple more practices, not much left of OTAs. And then we kind of get into the 1 day of minicamp. And then we really get to that really big competition when it comes to training camp when the pads come on ready to go, and we're going to be set. So how do you feel about a general Kevin Patullo? And do you trust him? Is it a wait and see type of approach with him? Is there no excuses for him for being in the room for the past 4 years? You guys let me know in the comment section below, but make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. We'll be covering the rest of OTAs, minicamp, and all of training camp before the regular season and any type of news that comes out for the Eagles. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follows live. Peace out, guys. Hey.